want to give a shout out to Maketoys not only for sending me this, but also because I want to give a special tip of the hat over how they carried that Alberta situation. If you're not in the know, massive forest fires, people without homes, just an insane amount of damage done by these wildland fires. And Maketoys took their Hellfire figure and donated profits from it to help with the Red Cross to assist these families in need. And for that, they have my eternal respect. Tip of the hat. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite salty truck guy's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Maketoys Vulcan, which is their take on Hotspot. For those that don't know, my father was a fireman.
Well, that apple fell far from the tree, didn't it?
Reviewing toys is just as honorable, some would say. Emergency vehicles have a special place in my heart, especially fire and rescue equipment. So I'm really happy to get this guy in hand. Usually guys that ride the truck are more senior guys, so that's why I say salty truck guy. Once again, this is sent to me by Maketoys to take a look at. I was one of the few people, I think, in the States that did all 4 limbs and stuff, so I guess that paid off. So we're going to take a look at this guy, we're going to get him out of the way, and then we'll look at Defensor soon, I promise. That's a lot more work on my end to kind of get done before we can do that. Anyway, it comes with a fair amount of accessories. They're mostly self-contained at this point. No instructions were sent to me with this guy, so you know what that means. Mistakes. Rolls like a champ. And style-wise, you know, there may be a vehicle overseas that I'm not familiar with that looks like this. This doesn't look very familiar to me in the trucks that I'm used to seeing, especially with the you know, the emergency light sitting so low. I don't know why that's bothersome to me. But what makes it easier for me to swallow is extend the ladder and have it sit out like that. Most, you know, trucks you see have the ladder kind of, you know, it sits that far forward and not back. That might be accurate to whatever they're going for with this, but it's not the way that I'll be having it. I'll be having it like that. And then we got these little canisters up here. I'm not sure what they do for the utility of the vehicle, but they're there. And then we got these two. I guess these are... Actually, I know what these could theoretically be. But they come off. A lot of this stuff comes off. A lot of it is parts forming for the combine mode, but I think it's done pretty smart. Very similar to Fans Project's Intimidator, or whatever the Motor Master was. It kind of reminds me of that, how it's kind of all put together. But it's pretty cool. They put the rubber treads here. These become the feet for the combine mode, so they're already included like they did with Quantron, so that's cool. I like that. That's smart. I dig it. And they're on this side too, obviously. The diamond plating all in the vehicle. That looks good. We got some gray paint for the windows. I wish that these would have been black. Just painted black windows to match the black up front, because it kind of looks a little weird to have silver windows on the side and then black windows on the front. But that's just my personal taste. And the black stripe down, it looks pretty good. You know, it works. It looks a little weird up in here, but I get it. The blue on the wheels looks good. So yeah, I like the back too. I like how the red accents for Defensor, this is obviously his chest plate, look like brake lights on the back, so I dig that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, not bad. I'm not crazy about this. This looks a little unfinished to me, this section in here, but I think that I don't know if that covers it up enough for everyone, but it certainly helps for me. The ladder is a tad short, I think, than what most people prefer, so that's pretty much the extent of it. It goes to like the front of the vehicle. It does ratchet up. Oh, yeah, the full Monty. And with these pieces locked in here, you do get a slight swivel. Let me show you the angle. So about to there and to there. And if you take these pieces off, they tab straight down into there. We'll set them to the side and talk about them here in a second. Then you can get the full swivel out of it. So not hateful in that regard. either. So these two pieces which sit there on the side, this piece comes out too, but I'm not sure I know exactly why or if it has a purpose. And then they just put together like that. You can have it down here or up there. Not a lick of paint on it, just the gray plastic. Let's do a size comparison before we start taking this thing any further apart. So, he's a big one. You know? Big boy. Alright, so we're going to take these off as well. They tab into the side. It's this piece here. It's a tight fit. Holds it pretty well. And we're going to set them to the side for a moment. We can undo this back piece here. This obviously forms the chest piece later on, and as you can see. I like the red translucence there. It looks good. It looks good. These, I think, flip up too. Yeah. Not a bad looking piece. Alright. Then this is like a locking tab. This is the kind of tab I wish was on the Machine Robo base, like that. It has a little lip that really catches it. And then we can get this out of the way. And then just, I feel like that just untaps it very easily. We're going to set this to the side for a moment. And we got these. You can spin these around. That makes the foot for the combine mode. And you can open up this front piece here and tuck them in for like the super ultra mega robot mode, which we'll take a look at somewhat reluctantly. But there they are. I dig that. You know, the parts forming thing I guess we'll talk about when we get to Defensor, but I think there's a smart way to do it and a not so smart way to do it, and I feel like that's a smart way to do it. So there's quite a few panels here, this being one of them. And if you pull it away, rotate it back on top of itself. Same on the other side. You can get your finger right in there behind this diamond plated piece. Just be mindful of it all. Take this bumper, separate it as far as you can from the sides of the vehicle so that you can open up this piece here. Then rotate this back as far as you can. And I mean, when I say back, I mean forward, I guess. And that gets that out of the way. Take the back front wheels, so to speak, and push them in. Continue with your panel explosions by pulling these side pieces up. These are the arms. You can split them and then kind of straighten them out. This rotates around 180. Make sure I'm doing it right. Right? And then wraps around the arm. And then that goes there, and this goes there. Actually, maybe that one doesn't go there. Oh well, let's see. There. So the bottom one does not plug in like I said it did. For the other side, you straighten that out as well. Rotate 90 degrees, it's not 180. Collapse that in on itself there. Bring this around. It's this that plugs into there and this into there. Split the front cab. And then bring your shoulders down. So that you have something in the end that looks remotely similar to this. I think that's on the... Let's start working on the legs. Take this and unplug them from the back. And then bring them down. So, it's hard to explain, but you got to kind of free that up a little bit to turn it to get the clearance to bring the foot back around. You can split the legs, pull down on these back pieces, and then sliding mechanism down and close them back up. Secure the backpack, and then your last couple steps are just open this piece up. That helps push the head up, which you can then grab and bring all the way up, and then close that up, and then rotate these wheels around so that they plug into the back, and that actually helps secure the shoulder assembly. One last step I forgot to mention, there's a gap here, and if you just close it down, you'll be good to go. The head, we got yellow paint, which looks good, and it looks good on top of black, which is a rarity, so that's sharp. We got red paint on the eyes. Now usually I'm used to Maketoys and Fans Project doing that black line around the eyes, and I don't see it here. So I really like when they do that, so I'm a little disappointed to not see that there. Head sculpt and all that stuff kind of sticks with the stylization that they've been going for, so that's cool. It's on a ball joint down. It's a fair bit, actually. And then up. This sliding mechanism, I don't know if mine is not up all the way, but you know how I feel about sliding mechanisms in general. And then the swivel's intact. It is a tight joint, not too tight, but it does take a little bit of effort behind it to get it to rotate. Shoulders, there's tons of articulation, so you have the ratcheted hinge here, and because of the cutout there, it's not a problem, you know, clearance wise. You have a swivel here, and then you have an additional hinge there, so you got two vertical hinges and then the swivel, so that works really well. For the bicep, you have a swivel there and there if you want one, and then it's a double jointed elbow, it looks like to me. No, single jointed, but gets you pretty much the full range before the bulk of the kibble starts to get in your way. As you can see, he holds his guns just fine. We'll take that out now. Paint-wise, you get the vehicle paint, and that's pretty much what's used as accents. And then you get the emergency lights right there on the forearms, which I do think looks good. You have the ball-jointed wrist, so it comes with a swivel and a little bit of up-down, so that's good enough. And then you have 5mm peg hands, which is a little strange to me. I feel like a figure of this size should have knuckles. So that's a bit bizarre to me. It doesn't look appropriate, and he always has to have like a fist motion. So that's not my favorite thing in the world. Translucent red here, and because of the combiner bit, you kind of have this like, let's see if I can get you. It's a double hinge. One's in the base of the pelvis, and then one comes up to the chest. Now it's not. I don't think it's really supposed to be used for this mode, but I don't know. But as a result, you can get a little bit of an ankle. I mean, like a ab crunch out of it for poses and stuff. It's cheating and it breaks the sculpt up, but it still works pretty well. So that's nice. You have a waist swivel. It's ratcheted and it's very. It's this piece that gets in the. I bet you. Yeah. So this is probably how you're supposed to have these. Once again, no instructions. And if you get that out of the way, then you have the full ratcheted waist swivel. So waist swivel's fine. Just make sure you do this step. I guess there might even be a better way to have those, but that's just going to have to do for now. We'll talk about the back real quick. Not the prettiest, right? Could be worse, but not the prettiest. And the backpack doesn't lock into anything. I guess it can't because then it wouldn't swivel. I do like that little blue pen there. That's a little accent piece. That's interesting because it's not on this side. It's like I guess it's like a male-female? I don't know. But yeah, it would be nice if it kind of locked in place. But whatever. Alright. Hips are, we got yellow paint here. This red translucent piece, and all the rest is regular plastic. These hip skirts here are on ball pegs, so you can get them up and out of the way in order to use your ratchet universal, which gets you the full Monty up. back, and full split. Ratcheted thigh swivel, and single jointed knee. It's a little weird. 90 degrees though, so that's fine. And we get the red paint that shows up nice. I don't feel like you get to really see that in truck mode, but it looks nice there in robot mode. It's a nice accent piece. The silver there. For the ankles, you get a ratcheted ankle tilt down, nothing really up. Oh yeah, you do. You get one click up because you get a ratcheted hinge here and then a soft ratcheted hinge here. Red plastic for accents, that looks fine. And then the rocker is back here on this hinge, so it's a full rocker to whatever angle you need to go. So articulation-wise, the feet, ankles, and all that stuff are great. I will say I found him to be a bit back-heavy, and he could have probably used a heel spur, unless there's a way of doing it that I'm not aware. Standing straight up and down, I haven't really had much of a problem, but when I've been putting him in more dynamic poses, I've had a bit of a problem getting him to hold the position. All right, so you got your fella. You take this on this red, plug it in into this blue. That's one side, and then same thing on the other side. And that's the leg bits. Then you take this piece, turn them around, open that up. These go into there, I think, and then these go into there. And then you can close this back up. And you want to have it so that there's a little notch. Let me show you this. There's a little notch here in the ladder. You want to have it so the little notch slides in these grooves, so to speak, there. And then lastly, you're looking at this slot right here, and then this port right here. And you're using this piece to slide in and this piece to tab in. And then you want the black piece that plugs into the truck facing outward. And it goes in like a champ. It's just making sure that you got the right pieces lined up. Same on the other side. And there's your super ultra mega robot mode. And it's pretty cool. It's not going to be for everyone, and it's super bulky. I do like how he's holding that gun though. What? But it's like, I definitely wouldn't have him displayed this way, but I got to tell you, it doesn't look bad. I think that he pulls it off better than Motormaster did. But it's the feet that seem a bit much. We'll take the feet off at the end and look at it. I just want to show you how the articulation works, because I must have been right about those back flaps, because he still, even with all that bulk on, still gets a pretty good amount of waist articulation, even with this, now huge backpack on. Just to open it up a little bit so you can see it a bit better. Like, it's just, the feet are probably a bit much. I wonder if... No, that doesn't look good either. Let me take this off. Yeah. See, to me, that doesn't look bad at all. And I think the backpack looks intimidating. Let me get you a better angle. Yeah, to me, that looks pretty tough. Size comparison-wise, there he is with the Combiner Wars Hotspot. And it's nice to see the two of them next to each other. I mean, Combiner Wars Hotspot looks very much more G1, but that's not really the look I don't think that they're going for. It's not the look they went for with their Minosaur bots. It's not the look they went for with their Computron, etc., etc. So they're going for this very stylized look. Obviously, like build and all that stuff, this blows this out of the water, but it's also significantly more expensive, so they shouldn't be compared in that way. You shouldn't compare a $20 toy versus a $100-some toy. They're not in the same bracket. Do you know what I mean? But that's what they look like next to each other. And there he is with some random other bots to kind of help give you an idea of size. He's a big fella. He's about the size of... He comes up just shy of Ironhide head to head. Like he comes up to about Ironhide's nose. Final thoughts wise, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints. You know, I have a lot of little nitpicks and stuff, but not a lot of complaints. What I do have is a concern. And I guess a warning. I think I have Maketoys eared now, so I feel like I have a responsibility to guys that kind of think similarly to how I think, to kind of pass on how I feel a lot of us are thinking. This is $135, which, in all fairness, isn't a terrible price for what this is. There's a lot of paint here. There's a lot of ratchets here. It's good materials. There's a lot of good here. I get the price. I think the problem is that a lot of people that are buying third party and spending good money for good toys, I think is how we see it, is that most of us are kind of moving away from this scale of figure and moving more towards a Masterpiece figure. Now, Maketoys has their Masterpiece figures, but let me try to put it in perspective. Their Masterpiece Hardhead is $145, so it's like $10 more than this. And I think that figure is a lot more rewarding to the Masterpiece collector. The problem with people that are not Masterpiece collectors, not that there's a problem with those people, but the problem with that collector is that they have this to choose from and they also have Combiner Wars to choose from. And I feel like a lot of those collectors will err on the side of budget more than they will on the side of quality. And what I don't want to see Maketoys do is outprice themselves in a demographic and in a collection category that isn't necessarily quality driven. This is a really good piece, and I am the type of guy that will get this, but I don't think a lot of people, especially that buy figures of this scale, are interested in figures of this price. And it's a shame because this is a really well done figure. But I guess my suggestion would be more so a word of caution to this company that Hasbro is making a lot of figures, and a lot of figures that fans want, character-wise. Not necessarily build-wise, but character-wise. So figures of this scale have to compete with collectors that are buying of that scale. And a lot of that, I think, priority-wise, is dependent upon price. This is one of the few figures that I don't have many complaints. I have little minor nitpicks. I would have liked the black lines around the eyes that I'm kind of used to from them. I would have liked the heel spur on the feet. I do have some nitpicks, some criticisms that I hope I've pointed out. But all in all, it's pretty well done. My concern is who's going to be able to appreciate it. Because there's an awful lot here to appreciate. The paint is great. It's just about where I want the level of paint. You know, there's little things here and there. There's some roll-up doors I saw on the vehicle mode that could have used some paint. But for the most part, in bot mode, everything kind of carries through to give a pretty dynamic look. The transformation is probably my favorite of the set. It's pretty straightforward. I feel like Maketoys and Fans Project, especially in this size, have kind of overcomplicated their figures and taken the fun out of it. That's not the case here. This is a fun character. It's a fun figure to mess with, which is really refreshing. The articulation, I wouldn't ask for anything more with the exception of some knuckle articulation. I think for a figure of this size, it probably needs knuckle articulation. Most of my significant gripes with this figure are in alt mode, where I just feel like I wish the ladder was longer, that the roof of the cab kind of cleaned up a little bit better. I wish that the emergency lights were a little bit more prevalent, things of that nature. But bot mode, I don't really have many complaints. Knuckles, eyeliner, for lack of a better term, and a heel spur. So I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that there are plenty of chug collectors out there that are still willing to kind of pay top dollar for a top product, but I'm not sure that that's the case anymore, and I don't want to see a wasted effort from this company that I feel like makes a pretty good toy. I'd much rather see them continue with their Masterpiece stuff. So it's a bit of a trade-off, and hopefully a word of wisdom. But I say that to say this, with the exception of the stylized look, which is just what they do, you either dig that look or you don't, I can't think of a real reason not to recommend this guy. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.